Dungeons is a mixture of a lot of different genres. You have some strategy, some tower defense aspects, and even RPG elements. When it was released, it was a highly anticipated unofficial follow-up to the Dungeon Keeper series, but that's not really what it turned out to be. Though of course, since this is not Dungeon Keeper, we should not be expecting it to be that and should speak of it on its own merits. So does Dungeons stand out as a game worth your time? Well, to start, you have two main ways of playing the game. You can either follow through the narrative-driven campaign where you play as a dungeon lord whose evil girlfriend Calypso betrays him and steals the underworld from him, or you'll just play in a sandbox map of your choosing with any game mode preference you want, or just sandbox game mode to create your own dungeon at leisure. The main goals in the gameplay are to earn gold from heroes that invade your dungeon, earn prestige by decorating your dungeon, and earn soul energy by killing heroes that find themselves highly satisfied from the experience of raiding your dungeon. The campaign brings you from mission to mission and gives you a different premise or goal in each one to differentiate it from the random sandboxy game modes. The story is decent, and the campaign really just ends up being used more to teach you how to play the game, and then challenges your knowledge of the mechanics you just learned every few missions. The biggest problem with it lies in that you need to focus on completing challenges in every mission in order to have enough skill points for your overlord not to get his ass kicked in the following mission. If you don't complete challenges for skill points and stat points, then you're going to have to grind the experience out by staying in the previous mission longer. This makes the campaign uninteresting and kind of boring after you play enough of it. The gameplay itself is fun. You can open gates to let heroes invade your dungeon, and then you need to place monsters, gold, armories, libraries, and etc. around to make them happy and fulfill whatever needs they might have. Then you either need to have some sort of trap prepared to kill the heroes before they escape, or go kill them yourself to harvest their soul energy. Soul energy allows you to make numerous upgrades to your dungeon and increase your own power. It's honestly a bit of an annoying concept, but it helps provide enough to keep you busy. Summoning minions relies on a pop cap that's influenced by how many monster dens are in your area of influence. The types you can summon relies on what dens you own. You place them around by leaving a pentagram of their image somewhere inside your zone of control. This will summon a specific amount and respawn them every few minutes after being killed by heroes. The population caps are unfortunately very restrictive and usually make it so that to properly rule your dungeon you can't just rely on strategic placement. You're usually forced to go out and fight the heroes yourself to make up for what your minions can't do. That's not exactly what I was hoping for from a dungeon management game, but it's alright. The graphics certainly haven't aged well since the game release, but that's not my main gripe here. My main gripe with the graphics is that they are what they are, but the game still manages to only really give you about 22 frames per second regardless of settings. I've tested this on two PCs, an old one running entirely AMD and a new one running Intel and Nvidia. Neither could even hit a high of 30 FPS. Seeing as the game is played in an overhead strategic perspective, you can argue that's not really that big of a deal, although since the game is in real time and requires some quick response times occasionally, you could argue that that's also a huge problem. The audio itself is decent, though the default sound mixing makes no sense and makes it so that the intro title music is leagues louder than the actual in-game music, so prepare to deafen your eardrums upon first launching the game. Overall, Dungeons is just not really what you would expect based off of what's presented on the store page. It's unfortunately disappointing. It makes a lot of sense why I was able to pick up the game for $1 on sale. 6 years old or not, most games should not be $1 at this point unless they're just that bad. And Dungeons? It's bad. It's not bad because of bugs or bad design choices though. It's bad because it's limiting, boring, and repetitive. More so if you choose not to grind out the challenges in story mode to level up your overlord properly. Was it worth the $1 I paid? Probably, but this is not sold round the clock at $1. Dungeons gets a 4 out of 10. It's just below average. It could have been fun, but it's really not. I plan on checking out future titles in the series, and hopefully they stand better on their own than Dungeons, the original, does. If you found this review helpful, then make sure to hit the subscribe button to see more just like it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next Res Reviews.